I had the longest stretch of time that I've had in the past 5 years of not getting a video on the channel. It was 24 days. And it just happened to be a calamity of business travel and vacation and then moving from one place to another that caused such a delay. And I still don't really have a great place to film my new videos. I'm actually here in my old office, as you can tell by the blue background behind me. I have not yet set up the new office to the point where I can record videos, but I did want to get something out on the channel because I have a lot of stuff to update you guys on. I'm also here at the old house where I'm going to be tearing out my solar setup, and I'll be filming that as part of this video. So I think I'm going to call this one of the on the road series because technically I am on the road. I don't live here anymore, so this is me on the road, even though I'm at an old house that I still own for about another few weeks here. I also wanted to give you guys some thoughts. I've had a lot of people ask me about the retirement of Unify Video, or the announcement of the end of life of Unify Video. So we're going to talk about that in this video as well. But first, let's give you a little bit of an update. So we can see here, let me flip this camera around. So here we have the old office, and as you can see, I have just a very barely minimum amount of stuff hooked up over here. This is just enough to basically have a wireless access point so that I still have internet while I'm over here, working, and I still have to come back here a couple more times to finish everything up. So we got my modem from Comcast, which goes into my Edge Router 4, which goes into this ER8 150, Unify Switch 8 150 watt. And then I also still have my cloud key, which is running just, I think, 1 or 2 cameras. That is all that I have left in this house. But as you can see, yeah, we are completely cleared out. This is the old office. There we are, hello. And yeah, look at that. So this is probably, I imagine, the absolute very last video that I'm going to be shooting in this office. So it's kind of bittersweet. And yeah, I'm really going to miss this office because it absolutely served me well for the past 5 years. But onwards and upwards, we're going on to a new office, which it'll be a bit of a transition, but I'll get there soon enough. So I moved. This is it's interesting the way that it worked out because I moved over the course of 4 days. So it took me 4 days to move, where we had movers show up, we got to the new house, we unloaded everything, I took a U-Haul back and forth to this place for some of the stuff that I didn't want the movers to move. And so it took a while. After the 4th day, which was a Saturday, I immediately hopped on a plane Sunday and went over to Wisconsin, where we did our Clearly IP free PBX training. And traveling was really interesting because the airports were basically empty. I've never seen the Detroit airport as empty as I saw it when I had a layover there for about an hour. I mean, that airport is usually like shoulder to shoulder people, and it was, like almost empty, maybe 10% capacity of what I'm used to seeing. Every single plane that I took was about 50 to 75% full. So there was only one leg of the trip where I actually had to share my row with someone. The rest of the times, I had the row to myself the whole time. Everyone's wearing face masks on the airplanes, which is really nice, and they even give you hand sanitizer and stuff when you get on the plane now. So I was a little sketched out about flying, but ultimately it turned out to be okay, although I'm certainly not planning any additional trips anytime soon. Then I got back from that trip. I came to this house one time to move another load of stuff, and then, 2 days after I got back from Wisconsin, we went on vacation. We went to Lake Tahoe, and I had an interesting thing happen to me in Lake Tahoe. We had a cabin rented, so one of those like vacation rental, not like VRBO, it was through like Marriott something or other. Marriott's got like a vacation rental type of thing. So we had rented this vacation rental, and while I'm on vacation, I've got to work still, right? I have a business to run. I wasn't making any YouTube videos, but I do have, orders to process, and I have to answer questions for, my employees and stuff like that. So we get to the cabin, and the cabin has really crappy DSL. Like, we're talking like 6 megabit by 2 megabit, something like that. I think that was about as fast as it goes. And again, it's like not ideal, but it's fine. I can deal with it. I can certainly do emails and do some web surfing with that level of internet. We're probably not going to be watching a lot of Netflix, but for work, it's perfectly fine. Now, an interesting thing happened, and I'd love to hear how you guys would have handled this differently than I did. So the first night we got there, we had internet. It was that cruddy AT&T DSL internet. The next morning we woke up, internet's disconnected. There's a red blinking light on the AT&T DSL modem. It's just not working, right? So I call the vacation rental place, right? This is the first day that I'm there, and I need to get some work done. This is, I think, Tuesday. We got there on a Monday. This is the Tuesday. So I needed to get some work done, and I can't, right? There's literally nothing. There's no LTE. There's no internet whatsoever. I'm contacting the vacation rental company. They say they're contacting the owners. AT&T says that there's an outage, which I didn't believe. So I called AT&T directly, gave them the address, and I said, "Hey, is there an outage here?" They said no. So I called the vacation rental company back. I say, "Listen, I called AT&T. There is no outage. I don't know what you're talking about." There was also a second modem in the house. There was a cable modem also over at another part of the house, and they had left the credentials for that cable modem as default. So I was able to log into the cable modem. It looked like the cable modem was getting a WAN IP address, but when I connected to it over Wi-Fi or I connected to it with a wired connection, it just wasn't routing out to the internet at all. So one full day was lost with me spending probably 2 hours on the phone trying to get it resolved, troubleshooting things, etc. Next day, still no internet, okay? I have to get some work done. I am like driving myself crazy with the amount of work that I need to get done that I'm not getting done. And so I get on the horn again with the vacation rental company, and they say, "Oh, we spoke to the owners, and it's bad timing because the owners are in the middle of switching from AT&T to the cable provider," right? And the cable provider was Suddenlink. And I said, "You got to be kidding me." And they said, "Something's just not working with that Suddenlink modem." And I said, "Listen, I'm a network guy. I do this kind of stuff for a living. Let me know what you need me to do to get this thing, to help get this thing resolved." And so I ended up being on the phone on hold with Suddenlink for 4 hours. Okay, I was on the phone for an hour and a half. Someone finally picked up the phone. I talked to that gentleman for about 20 minutes. He was trying to get the modem working. Apparently, we just needed to authorize the MAC address of the cable modem so that it could actually route traffic onto their network. I was on the phone with the guy for about 20 minutes. The line dies. I was like, "You've got to be kidding me." So I called back again. Another 90 minutes on hold later, someone else picks up, this another representative, and she got it working in about 15 minutes. But all in all, I probably spent 6 or 7 hours of the first 2 days of my vacation troubleshooting an internet problem that wasn't my problem. It was the problem of the owners of the cabin, right? So I was super pissed off about the whole thing. And so I was almost gonna bill the cabin owners for my time, because I was that mad about it. Now that's really, really petty, but this is where what would you guys do in that situation? You're on vacation, but you absolutely need internet. It's not like you need internet for Netflix or something. It's because you're having a working vacation, right? You're trying to get some work done while you're on vacation. What would you guys do in that situation? Well, here's what we did. The owners were nice enough to send us a bottle of wine the next day. And I'm sure it's just some, cheap bottle of wine, probably $20 or something. But, listen, it was something and we appreciated it. And so I didn't end up billing the owner of the cabin or anything like that. But we did call up the vacation rental company, and we are trying to get some sort of, money back for the first 2 days that we were there. Because they're advertising a cabin that has high-speed internet, and it didn't have high-speed internet for the first 2 days. I was getting to the point where I was telling them, look, we will pack up and move to a different cabin if that's what it takes to get internet, and that's when I finally started saying that. That's when they decided to really take action and get it resolved. So I don't know, just one of those situations, kind of a first world problem, right? But what would you guys do in that same situation? I'd be curious to hear about that. All right, so here we are at the old solar setup, and this is one of the next things that I have to take down. Solar panel, mesh access point on top. We've got the NanoStation AC point-to-point antenna. We've got an Ethernet surge protector, the solar point, and we've got the, I forget what this thing's called, nano switch, whatever this thing, the 24-volt passive, $30 nano switch. Plus a couple of batteries in there. And then over here, I've got the other side of the point-to-point antenna, a G3 camera, etc. So that's kind of on my to-do list today. I'd like to get this pole out of the ground too, but man, I cemented that thing in, and it's going to take a lot of work to dig that back up. So I don't know how far I'll get on getting the actual pole out, but I'm at least going to get all of this equipment off of this pole so that I can reuse it at the new place. I did want to talk about the fact that Unify Video is now end of life. Ubiquiti officially announced, I think probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago, that Unify Video is end of life, and like, I don't have any sort of special insight into what's going on at Ubiquiti, but like, when I did my video on Protect, so I did about a 30 or 40 minute video on Protect, I talked about the future of Unify Video in that video, and I basically called that it was over for Unify Video once Protect came out. So reading between the lines here, and keep in mind that this is my own speculation, it seems to me that A, Ubiquiti has committed to security updates, bug fixes, and support for new G3 camera models, but no promise of any further product development or new features. And B, they will support existing Unify Video 3 installations with an emphasis on the 3, right? They mentioned 3, Unify Video 3, 4 times in 3 sentences there. So likely we're never gonna see a version 4 of Unify Video. From Ubiquiti's standpoint, it is a much better business decision to utilize Unify Protect on hardware that they can, specific hardware like the UNVR and the Cloud Key Gen 2 Plus. It's much easier from Ubiquiti's standpoint to only QA the software on a specific set of hardware, right? As opposed to Unify Video, which is a free-for-all. You could install it on anything out there. And so the support for Unify Video is much more difficult in terms of, from Ubiquiti's standpoint. Now, from the consumer standpoint, it sucks, right? Like we like to have Unify Video where we could install it on basically any hardware that we wanted. And again, I don't have any special insight into Ubiquiti, but you don't need a crystal ball to see that that was the direction that they were heading. They just didn't kill off Unify Video right away because Unify Protect needed to bake a little bit, right? It needed to bake on the Cloud Key Gen 2 Plus. Then they came out with the UDM Pro, which had Protect support, and now they've come out with the UNVR, which has Protect support. Now the thing is, I actually really like Protect. I think Protect is a good product. I am disappointed that I can't just roll my own, Ubuntu server or something and install Protect onto that. But I do like Protect a lot. I like the mobile app. I like the software. So again, it's hard to be like super mad at Ubiquiti about the whole thing when I basically called that was going to happen 2 years ago. If you guys want a little bit more in-depth look at the end of life for Unify Video, Tom Moritz did a great video on it when it first happened, so you can go check that out as well. All right, so this is the last thing that I have to do today. I got to get all of this equipment off of the wall, the UAP ACLR. I've got this little 802.3 AF to 24 volt passive adapter, and then the Unify Switch Industrial, which I love this switch so much. I definitely want to use it in my new place. I'm actually probably going to use it up in the attic where it's like super hot and I can distribute, Cat 6 around to different rooms in the house. All right, so let's get this stuff off the wall. This is a crying shame because I just put this up like less than a few months ago. But, life comes at you fast and you just got to be ready for those changes. I'm trying to think of exactly when I put this stuff on the wall. It was during the COVID lockdown, so it must have been like April time frame. Oh, there goes the power. God, it feels like it was so much longer than that. Time has just slowed down recently, hasn't it? All right, converter. We've got the point-to-point, point-to-multipoint, which I already took off the wall. We've got this UVC G4 Pro camera that I also already took off of the wall. This screwdriver is too thick to get down in the little hole, so I can release the latch on this the UAP LR. I'll see if I can do it with the end of this tie strap here. Well, that's not working. All right, we'll see if I can do it with this nail here. Oh man, the struggle is real. All right, nail didn't work either, so now we're going to try one of these picture hanger things that I have bent open, and I think that might do it. We'll see if I can even get it in there. Did not expect this to be the most difficult task of the day. Funny thing is, someone sent me a tool at one point that is specifically made for this. It's made to go down in that little hole and unlock the access point. And I don't think I have it with me. Oh, I do! Oh, I do have it. Oh my goodness. All right, so look at this. Whoop, we'll give this guy a plug. Rexfordtools.com. And this is a tool that's specifically made for just this. Let's see if this works. Oh my God, look at that. Wow, look at that. It's the right tool for the job, right? You gotta have the right tool for the job. Rexfordtools.com. Thank you very much. That just took me 10 minutes to get that off the wall, and it's given me 2 seconds to do it with your tool. I should have looked for that tool first. All right, access point down. Now onto the industrial switch. There we go. This is such a beefy switch. Man, I love this thing. Cannot wait to get this set back up at the new place. All right, there we go. All done with this section. All right, so short episode, but definitely a long day of work for me, and I am now taking another carload of stuff back to the new house, and gotta unload it once I get there. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video with just a few updates and thoughts and just random stuff. I promise I will be getting back to my normal 2 videos a week as soon as I possibly can once I get a little bit more settled in. Okay, hope you guys enjoyed this one, and we'll see you in the next video.